Changing Work channel. It is Wednesday, and we have a treat for you, Roxana and I. Hi, I'm Veronica Stewart from Ingenious Agile. I'm a career empowerment and talent coach. I can't talk today. And Roxana is from All Personal, and you are.
I am the chief game changer here at All Personal, working with teams and managers to help them work better together and create a future of work that they're happy with.
Awesome. And the Game Changing Work channel, just for those of you that are not clear of what we actually do, we will get an introductory thing put on our show, is that it is talking about those individuals that want to change the game of work. So change the game that currently is happening today and designing the future. So all our topics are always going to be around what do we do now and what are we going to design for the future of tomorrow. So for today, our topic is about resumes and the future of the resumes. Do we ditch or keep them? So our first thing is we have about top 5 things. Unfortunately, I didn't get the bullet point visual. This is what happens when you don't have time to plan. But what we're going to go through is our top 5 of what we see as some challenges that are currently happening today, and then tie it into the future. So those of you that are interested in staying on with us and come join us for the rest of the show, that is what we're going to dive into. So let's do that now.
So, by the way, the rest of the show is going to last until 8:55. And we do this every Wednesday and Friday, 8:25 to 8:55 Eastern Time, just so you know. And actually, let's do this as we're discussing our bullet points. If anyone watching has other bullet points that they can think about, please join the conversation and ask your questions, make your comments, because we're doing some wishful thinking, strategic planning, building the future together. So whatever comes to mind when you talk about resumes of the future, join in the conversation and let us know what you think about it.
And then when we are talking about the topics, if you have your own opinions and thoughts around it, please put it in the comments. So here's our first one. When it comes to resumes, is that people don't live in the city of where most of the predominant jobs are. So that's a challenge that's out there today. So we are seeing, though, in 2020, some of that dynamic has changed with the remote working option. And so a lot of companies are opening up their doors and changing that dynamic. So for me, as I focus on helping individuals empower themselves in their career and life so they can be on that driver's seat, one of the conversations that come up a lot is, I want to have a job, but they're not available in my current city. What do I do? Do I get bound? Do I have to move? Do I have to relocate? And I would say that right now in 2020, if you're in this position, I would say yes and no. It really depends on the industry that you're in and what you're targeting. And so this is a great time for people to start researching about what is going on out there today in the industry that you're in, and also your particular roles and what companies are actually changing the way they hire. So now with you, Roxana, you think in the perspective of the hiring manager. So what are your thoughts around that?
So I liked how you made the connection with the role and what is possible out there in the industry, because I think this is exactly the link that we're looking for. When we talk about resumes of the future, we're also actually talking about jobs of the future. And it's going to be very much a matter of flexibility from the point of view of the hiring manager, or if you're a small business owner, you want to bring people on your team. What do you do to help them contribute to your team? So you want somebody because they're good, because they match your culture and your values and everything that you want to accomplish in your business goals, and they match the team. What do you do to help them come and actually work for you, even if they are in a different city where or they're somewhere else? It all comes down to the kind of flexibility that you have as a manager to create a different kind of role and align expectations in your team and in the organization. It doesn't matter how big or small that is, because ultimately we're all creating culture together, because culture is created by the people who work there. So no people, no culture. So what are you doing as a manager to create that and change it?
So now let's go on number 2.
Yeah.
Let's run through these. So now it's switching of focus in career. So a lot of people, especially being hunkered down in this pandemic, they are starting to reevaluate what they really like to do. There are some people that I'm actually working with and coaching of, they want to find their passion. They want to connect to their purpose. And they feel that what they're doing today is not necessarily what they are feeling energized, as I call that career mojo. And really want to get up and feel like it's Friday night going to work every day. And so one of the things when it comes to resumes is really thinking about, what do I do to balance that? And for me, if I'm looking at it current day and how we're approaching this resume, yay or nay, your resume is very extremely important to be able to get honest and get real. If you have all these years of experience doing X, but you want to move to a different career, is be honest. Be honest where, this isn't inspiring, blah, blah, blah. You want to end up going into data science, right? For example, but maybe you were a developer only, and it's a little bit different from your career. Those summaries, those objectives are a great way to actually put in what you're focusing on. And so as a hiring manager, let's take it from that point of view, is what would that perspective look like if you're looking at people that are switching careers?
Well, that's also, it's almost like the same thing, because I like the career mojo thing, because that applies to hiring managers or people who start, for instance, bringing more people on the team as they're building their business. So it's, what do you do to keep your career mojo, as you say, because I love it. I love this concept. What do you do to keep your mojo in place as the manager? Because that is also going to have an impact on how you run the team, how you manage the team, how you spot talents, how you spot needs for development. You have to be able to keep that mojo and maintain it forever, basically, because that allows you to be aware of what your strengths are, what you're good at, how you're managing your people, what you need to develop, and then that will allow you to also spot needs in the team. Because I think in that I've worked with business owners who wanted to become better people managers, and because they realized if they have people challenges, they're also going to have business challenges. And that is very visible in smaller teams or in smaller businesses, but it's also visible in larger organizations when the team and everything that they do and how they're managed does not align with what results they're looking for with their business goals.
And that's where I talk about a lot of people are so hung up on the skills and the experience. Yeah. And I've talked to a lot of people that are recruiters or companies that are actually looking at a different perspective. So I know it's out there just because of the conversations that I've had where they're like, you know what? I would rather have someone that is willing to learn and has that yearning to impassion to do something, right? And so that getting to action, willing to actually learn and get those skill sets so then they can start doing, having that experience. They'd rather have somebody with that burning desire to grow and learn and hire them for that position, because they're like, you know what? It's hard to find good talent out there. Yeah. And yeah, we might look at resumes, but there's this people dynamic that's missing. And they want hungry people. And so they would rather hire the hungry person that has passion, which I've been hired for jobs that way. And because they're like, you know what, we can teach the skill set. We have a lot of people here that are, that are experienced and mentors, and we have a pairing program. And so they solved for it. And so that's where, when it comes to your talent strategies and the personal development in companies, is they're starting to realize that just the skill sets and experience isn't necessarily going to give you that mojo that I'm talking about within your company. It's really, you want learners. You want people that have the fire in their belly, that are willing to do all that work, because again, that's going to transit to helping your business meet the outcomes just as well. And I think they're getting smarter on that, as I'm seeing out there. And that might have been a little bit of my future on there. So let's go to number 3.
Okay.
So now we're, talking about relevancy out there. And I think today it's, what do people do in resumes today is how to stay relevant. And I think and this is me kind of bridging again with LinkedIn and all the job boards that are out there. I think it's a great time with all the people talking, and you can network, you can go and search jobs. You start to realize what actually is relevant out there. When I am a professional job jumper my entire life, and I can say that's how I always got a job, is because I was looking to see what was relevant out there. And what I also did in my resume was I put the most relevant things and how to craft it up at the top, because that was what got people's attention. And so I was always very strategic, going, well, what do they care about? And maybe that's why I was always employable. One is I always had the fire in the belly, and I tried to always go after jobs I was passionate about. And the ones I really weren't, I think that actually shone through. But I never, ever, even regardless of after what ones that I wasn't passionate about, I always was very calculated and strategic about that. And so I did a lot of research. And as a hiring manager, and you're looking at these resumes, relevancy is important. But how, and again, going back to, if I'm switching careers, how do you explain that? So in that perspective of, you're the boots on the ground hiring manager, what does relevancy look like in both situations?
Oh, that's where, as a hiring manager, and if you're quite new on the job, that's a tough decision to make, because what you're gonna look at, and if you're doing this for the first time, what you're gonna look at, you look at, as you said, the skills and experience that people have on the resume, but then what you're going to be attracted to is the description of what they think is the most relevant from their perspective when they apply for the job. And that's going to be the hook for you as a hiring manager, right? Because you say, oh, okay, this person sounds interesting, and they sound like they could be a good fit with the role and with the team. That's what you're looking at. And I've worked with people who were hiring for their business team, and that's when you really need the focus, because that's when the hire is going to be super important, because we all know how much a bad hire costs financially and then psychologically if they're a bad hire, right?
Yeah,
So,
and if your company has not gone through this calculation, then
wow.
My father was in HR, and that was one of the things that, when he left the military and went into the private sector, he ended up becoming a director of HR. And he always was saying, and he did the calculation of how much it actually costs to lose an employee. So the job jumper here, remember, I was a job jumper as a full-time employee, all that training and all that onboarding, and I was gone in less than a year, is high cost for a company. And so those retention rates are huge. But kind of getting back to the relevancy, and as you're talking, I was thinking about it. This is where it's important for you to not underestimate yourself. And this is me, the career life empowerment coaching, is your skill sets.
Yeah, no,
we always don't think that even skill sets that I've had in my first job when I was 14 years old isn't applicable to what you do today. Me being, I'm 45 now. Oh yes, I said it, because I don't care. And and I think I look good for 45. Now, here's the thing.
of course.
What it is all applicable because that relevancy is huge. If you're a hiring manager, and I've actually gotten jobs where I didn't have as much experience, when I left teaching and I went into training software for a travel industry, by the way, accounting software that I never even had a background in accounting. I took all the skill sets as a teacher, writing curriculum, facilitating, and I pushed them up when I applied for that job.
Yeah.
And me as a person and my tenacity and that fire got me that job. And the two things that they said was, you know how to write curriculum, you know how to facilitate, which these are skill sets that are needed for this job. And you were a biology major, you should be smart enough that you could figure out accounting. The VP of that company, I had to, because it was a small company, I had to interview with her. That is what she told me. And you know what? I got hired as a junior trainer.
Yeah.
No,
I agree.
So I know it's possible.
Because that's what the hiring manager also looks at. And if you're a smart hiring manager, like it looks that in your case that happened, you want that because
potential.
Exactly. You're looking for potential. And what that means, you're also looking for creativity. You're looking for passion. You're looking for other talents that people have, because you never know how those talents will contribute to what you have to do in the business, on the job, on the role. Because we're all this sum of everything that we know, all of the experience, all of the skills, and everything we've gone through up to that point, right? That's why I say it's all personal. Nothing is just business, because it isn't, because we are people and we come with this all personal baggage. And we take it, we carry it with us.
And I think that's why I get so fiery. As you can see, I'm like,
exactly.
Because I can't, there's something about where I just can't, those that want to get out of this, right? I can only help the willing, is that they underestimate their potential. I think that's the reason why I even got into teaching. And this is why I got into agile coaching. And where I am today is that potential, and people, their subconscious tell them, I'm not good enough. I don't have that. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Look at all these wonderful things that you've done, or look at how you can apply that. And managers, good managers out there see that. They see the potential. Yeah, exactly. And so now let's go into 4 and 5 as we're closing in on our 30 minutes here. Let's kind of run through these, because I think they're going to go over into our future. If you're cool with that, Roxana, is the bots, like the scanning bots. So that is something that's actually happening out there today. When you're in larger corporations and they're using these talent management systems, and it's really a bot that's scanning your resume in order for you to actually talk to a recruiter. So in today's world, if you are going in that route, which they are other routes, and we're going to talk about that more in the future of 2021, is that keywords and relevancy and all these things that we've been talking about are extremely important. This is not even related to the hiring manager. This is more of the entry point that you haven't even had a chance to talk to the hiring manager. So I'm going to save this one for future talking, because I actually believe there's more opportunity on your entry points for 2021 now, after being online and the presence that we actually see every day on LinkedIn. Industry, company, and role. That's another one when it comes to current day resume. And I think this is becoming even more relevant in the future. And so that maybe we can jump into that in the future with this one, because they say in resumes, current day, present, is a lot of people will focus on getting a job in the role, where there are tips and tricks out there. You can Google it on YouTube today, is that they don't think about the industry, right? They are already at the 10,000 feet and they don't look above. And this is kind of person kind of thinking big picture thinking, and strategic is, what industry do you want to go into? What type of company? And if you're targeting and you have a better vision, if you're just saying, oh, I'm just trying to get a Scrum Master role. Oh, I'm just trying to get this. But you don't really know your industry. Like a developer is very agnostic, but okay, what kind of industry do you like? Do you like banking? Do you like financial? If you start to kind of think about an area where you want to target, this is where it's going to get you allowing to be more strategic and out of that tactical thinking.
Yeah.
Now, and when we start to think about the future, funnel, right? Funnel. There are a lot more opportunities to get directly connected to hiring managers now.
Yeah.
And
that
I
helps
honestly
looking
think 2021,
industry.
the recruiting industry is going to get shaken up because I have learned a couple of times, it's not every single time, but I was already doing this. I was bypassing them. And now a lot of times you're like, well, I don't know who the hiring manager is. Well, you know what I did? I'm going to be honest, is I would look up the company. And then I realized, like, if somebody was in that area, the department or whatever, I would go on LinkedIn. I would connect and message them, because most people, when you invite them to connect, they actually accept. Come on, let's just get real. And I would message them and say, hey, or if I see I'm connected, like the Kevin Bacon first, second, degree, I would work my way in and bypass that. Because here's the thing, the recruiting, especially internally, don't know a damn thing about that job. And I started realizing how to bypass that. And so I'm kind of wondering, going into 2021 and even further, how much more is that going to start happening out there?
Oh, a whole lot more, I can tell you. And it's like, I always tell people, whenever we talk about job search and, getting in touch with people and making connections and building your network, just do it from this kind of entrepreneurial mindset, where you have a service that might be helping the employer or the company or the industry that you want to work in. And you can cold call or cold email or reach out to them and say, hey, this is me, this is what I have to do, this is what I did when I came to Canada. And I was looking for jobs initially, and because I'd worked in learning and development, I started emailing training companies here and saying, hey, this is me, these are the kind of training sessions that I can deliver. If you're looking for another team member, maybe you want to work with me, because this is what I have to offer. I sent, I don't know, dozens of emails. I got one email back, and I started to work with those guys in their training company in my first year of coming here. So basically, think of it as if you're your own business, right? When you look for a job, you're your own business. It's as if you had your own thing, and you just have to sell it. You have to sell your
and
to people
I love how you're getting into this. And this is kind of a segue into the other. Now, those of you that are watching our show, don't forget to subscribe to our Game Changing Work channel. Also comment. We'd like to hear, even if you're watching this later, I just want to make sure that you engage. And if you like the show on YouTube, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, jumping in, sales and learning how to create content, because I think that's a great skill set. And I didn't realize, me now going into more of being an entrepreneur and trying to get my own direct sales as a business, I kept on separating that the fact that I was really good at selling myself and getting a job, that why can't I sell myself to get clients? And here's the thing, it's no different. And I think that if we just learn the process of what can you offer? Who do you serve? What are the problems that you think that you can solve, and what's the benefit? That's all sales.
Yeah.
And putting your feet to the ground and getting out there and networking and getting engaging. And that is part of being a good salesperson. So it's almost like, this is another thing me saying in high school, right? I think we start them, because kids these days, some of them, are already starting to work and what might have you, is that I think everyone should learn how to sell. It builds confidence. It also teaches you how to fail, because you're going to get people saying no, door slammed, ghosting. You hear all these stories of people, and it really helps you deal with being disappointed. and really thinking about your expectations. So I think not only is it a good skill set, but I think also in a subconscious mindset, those master salespeople have learned how to get through the negative thoughts of what their minds and their inhibitions and insecurities will hold them back. So it's a great skill set. I think they should start even teaching in high school, because if we're teaching practical skill sets for the kids out there today, that is, when we talk about the future of work, is teaching them how to sell.
And how to create networks and really maintain and business relationships, because that's what you're talking about. If I'm going to sell something to you, that means that you trust me to buy from me. So that means that we have a good enough relationship that we've built and that I've built as mainly as the person who wants to sell my services.
And that is getting into the last couple things when we talk about the future, right? The yay, nay, and resume is video resumes. They're becoming more prevalent. Also, content creation. So we're starting to realize that there is a gap being closed between the world of social media, right, and also looking for a job. So those of you that have not gotten the confidence to create a video resume, there are a lot of coaches. I know one. If you want to contact me, I can connect you with one. That's how I actually started getting comfortable making videos and getting out there. Every profile on LinkedIn, you should have a video CV attached to your member profile, period. Get it done. That's the wave of the future. That's where we're going. People want to know who you are. And as a hiring manager, talk about connections and relationships.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
It is, but that means that you as the hiring manager also have to have an open mind and look for that, because I know a lot of hiring managers in companies that still hire the good old way. They look at resumes, they have them screened by a bot, and then you end up hiring based on what you see on the resume, based on just what you get in that interview. And maybe that person has just a bad day on the interview, or it might be that they have a great day, but they're not actually a good fit for your team. So I think as a manager, you need to also be more open when you hire and look for that, and look for hire differently. If you want to get different results, you have to do things differently. So you have to look at ways in which you can get more information about people coming in before they join.
And I love where you're going with that, because it's all what we're talking about, the individual, which is where I kind of work in that space. And then Roxana works on more of the middle management, the hiring managers that are hiring these people. It's all about mindset shifts and really opening what I like to call as an agilist is that growth mindset. And it's really understanding where we're going, not what we do today. It's where we're going. And if you really want to get good talent, then you're going to have to open up your minds, and what you're doing today, your approaches may not necessarily get you there. I've talked to a lot of other managers that are starting to get more creative about that. And it's great. Well, how do we grow that is the question. Exactly. Now, I always say that the individuals, don't wait for it to happen. Start creating it. I'm a designer, not a designer by like a role career. I'm talking, I design what I want my world to be. I don't wait for the world to already be that way. Mm-hmm. And so I highly encourage you to put a video CV, because here's the thing. Even in your resume, you can put the URL to that link, and they might even go there. So that's what I'm saying. You can be creative to figure that out. Now, when we talk about content creation, as we're going to be buttoning this up, is that you learn how to create hooks and teasers. Well, you're hooking them in, and you're creating a teaser saying, oh, here's my world. Oh, you want to learn more? Can get to know me. And so I think that's also, the more that you get out there in these social media platforms and you learn about how to create content creation, you being a content creator, it's going to align with your career and resume in the future. I honestly believe that. I think that's where we're going there. Mm-hmm. Now, I know we got to I'm getting all juiced up and our time
to wrap up. Yeah.
So again, subscribe to our channel. It's a game-changing work channel. If you liked this session, please like the video in the show, I mean, and then also comment on some of the things that thought-provoking or questions that you have in relation to the resume, the future of the work, or things that are happening today that you might think is going to start changing also. Now, I have a upcoming webinar, so we can probably pop that in, and then is really talking about that empowerment. So when we talked about resumes and understanding what you want to target and everything, this is all about aligning. And actually, I changed the title to be more positive. As I know and I've learned, the title actually is more about embracing who you are. So I'll correct that. Is that it's about embracing you. And the more that you're clear of what you want and what you want to focus, it's going to come out in your resume. It's going to come out in how you are targeting and how you're focusing your energy on getting the action and getting the careers that are going to make you feel like you're in the driver's seat. So what are you doing, Roxana?
Well, I am doing this free webinar, which is actually, it's today and on Friday, the last 2 days that I'm holding this webinar. Lead for Legacy, be a dream boss for yourself and your dream team. And we talk to people who manage people in teams on the ground, so who are very hands-on and need to be very hands-on. And we talk about how you can be this dream boss that creates the dream team. And we talk about, first of all, self-management and self-care. And we also address team resourcing and how you can look at your team from a talent perspective and from an impact perspective. So join me today and Friday, because come Monday, we're actually starting the join the Lead the Legacy League. It starts on 16 November. So,
and those of you that follow me in the Agile community, this ties with what we call the frozen middle. And so they have so many Agile leadership programs out there. But we always tend to try to, direct the people that are above. But what about the middle management that is getting, we're going through a transformation, and then you have the boots on the ground and you're trying to manage that, and there's a huge disconnect. And so check out Roxana's webinar. And this is really centered around the boots on the ground type of managers that are working with those direct employees. So we are out of time. Again, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like us.
Okay. See you on Friday.